The Fate series is really big. There are lots of games, anime, manga, gacha, the original visual novel, and so much more. I've been a fan of the series since Fate Zero for the PSP way back in the PS Portable days, but I'd only consider myself a casual Fate fan. I don't really know the chaotic ins and outs of this mega massive IP. I've played a bunch of the games, watched a bunch of the anime, and played the original visual novel, but I actually only just got to play that for the first time with the remastered version on Steam. Yes, I'm late for yet another boat. An anime boat. I'm sure there's some sort of joke I can put in here, but I won't bother. I have also just finished playing Fate Samurai Remnant. The game is an action RPG developed jointly by Omega Force and Ko Shibusawa and published by Koei Tecmo for, let's just say, modern platforms not called Xbox. And let me tell you, when I first booted up the game and saw the name Omega Force, my heart sank. Omega Force are known for their Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, and other Warriors titles. Basically, big battlefields with loads of dudes that need to be mowed down. I'm not actually a huge fan of this style of game. I've played a handful of them, including that Zelda Warriors game, the Fist of the North Star one, Fire Emblem Warriors, and Three Hopes. Three Hopes felt pretty fresh compared to the formula of the previous games. But let me tell you, after getting into Samurai Remnant, I could barely even tell it was a Musou. The game is huge, it has loads of systems, and the combat actually feels really good. I know, pretty weird, huh? So then I proceeded to play Samurai Remnant for 120 hours. I did almost everything in this game, including all of the DLC, and finishing all of the story routes. I missed a couple of entries for the Do Everything achievement, but oh well, I was not about to play it for a 5th time in a row. You know, I was only happy playing it 4 times in a row. Nerd! So, I am Richard for RPG Fortress, and this is Fate Samurai Remnant. Our game starts in feudal Japan, and you play as Iori Miyamoto, a young ronin living in Edo. This title's version of the Holy Grail War, named the Waxing Moon Ritual, begins. You meet up with this game's version of Saber, and then all of the drama and subterfuge and backstabbing and battles begin. As the story progresses, more masters and servants are introduced, and the task of get the Holy Grail, the Waxing Moon, becomes one of dire circumstance, as some of the participants in the ritual have destructive plans if they get their hands on the artifact. Yes, some of the villains want to engage in villainy. This ended up being one of those stories that deserves its own 3-hour deep dive video. I was shocked and surprised that the story was actually as deep and involved as it was. I thought it was going to be just defeat the other servants and get the thing. But there's a lot of intrigue and characters changing sides and philosophy. The story of Samurai Remnant is actually on the same level as some of the other stories in this franchise. It is a surprisingly gripping and entertaining story, with lots of twists and turns that kept me coming back for more. The combat in Samurai Remnant is good fun. It takes the idea of Musou combat and turns it into something a lot more engaging. You have so many skills and special attacks and magic that I didn't even start getting bored of combat until like my 3rd playthrough. It's a lot to learn, a lot to master, and a lot to focus on. Experience for leveling up Iori and the servants, gems for leveling up skills, quests for earning materials, materials for building things. There's just a lot to do besides mash X. Each area you visit will have a number of sub-objectives to complete for additional items and money, and I found myself sticking around these areas and honing my combat skills at the same time. I had a great time hunting down bandits, eating food at food stands, and petting cats. Yes, you can pet cats and dogs to earn rewards. Finally, a mechanic made just for me. So I would often find myself hanging out in areas I completed, beating the shit out of bandits, and petting cats. Thank you, Fate Samurai Remnant. Now, whenever you find yourself in combat, whether you are fighting bandits, demons, or other masters and servants, you will normally control Iori, and Saber will fight alongside you with AI. Iori is a decent enough fighter with several types of sword styles and magic at his disposal, and Saber, being a Saber class, means that they fight with a saber. But as you progress through the story, you're going to be recruiting a load of additional servants. Like, seriously, it's a truckload of servants. You can have up to 2 of them on the battlefield with you at a single time, and for the most part, they can babysit themselves. But come on, you didn't buy this game to play as generic swordsman guy. You bought this game to play as heroic spirits. Saber, Lancer, Assassin, those are the characters you want to play as. Some of the battles by default will allow you to play as one of these heroic spirits, which is satisfying enough, but as you fight as Iori, you will slowly increase a meter, which when full will allow you to take full control of the heroic spirit and just absolutely savage enemies. And not counting the DLC, you have a dozen heroic spirits that you can recruit and use, so you won't be getting bored of combat anytime soon. I ended up running with Saber and Gilgamesh, sorry, I meant Boss, for my last little bit of the game, and between the 2 of them, things died fast and hard. As you press onward through your quest to not let Edo get blowed up, you and your servants will earn gems, and you can use those gems to buy and upgrade skills on that character's job board. This is a pretty good way to get you to cycle your servants regularly, as everyone has their own board, and some things on Iori's board can only be unlocked after unlocking servant skills. Inside your home in Edo, you and your grandpa, who is a spirit possessing a magical tome, don't ask, will build a magecraft workshop. You will find yourself visiting this place constantly as a number of progressions are tied to it. Here you can add supplements to your sword, which will grant you more experience after battle. You can carve statues for experience, you can access bonus battles, and you can level up the shop itself, unlocking more unlockables. Okay, so I know you guys like it when I talk about stuff I don't like, so let me tell you about ley line battles. These things I do not like. Basically, some places need accessing via magical ley lines for insert story reason here. The problem is these battles take way too long and can be convoluted, especially early on in the game. Basically, the ley line maps are made up of many locales on a big map. Each turn, you can choose one adjacent place to enter. As you move, enemy units will also move. You are basically trying to take over as many of these little spots as possible, all the while preventing enemies from doing the same thing. The problem with this is that these things can take a while. Each enemy that appears is a full-on battle, and a lot of these maps will have upwards of 10 battles. Now, if you can cut them off and seal the areas on all sides of them, they are automatically banished and you don't have to fight them. You do also get some skills that will make this easier, but the problem is, I just don't care. Fuck these stupid battles, you'd have more fun filing your income taxes than playing these sections. Let me tell you about a game that looks good. Yeah, babe, look in the mirror. It's you. Fate Samurai Remnant has some very Fate-ass looking characters. Saber is obviously immediately noticeable due to Saber face, but a lot of the other servants really do look awesome. Musashi, top tier. Archer, top tier. Rogue Saber, top tier. Rogue? What's this that I hear you say? On top of the expected servants in this game, you'll also have a load of rogue servants. These are optionally recruited servants because you need even more ways to obliterate hapless bandits. The world looks good, towns are big and sprawling with plenty of exploring, all of the characters have loads of facial expressions for portraits, and there are loads of named NPCs that look great. I'm looking at you, Dio. My PC isn't particularly new, and even on the lowered settings, the game still looks really good. The music is definitely there. Thinking back, all I can recall is that, yeah, the music is totally fine, but after all is said and done, I can't hum a single track from this game. The music is well done, but the soundtrack lacks a lot of solid, memorable tracks. Although I can say that the voice acting is pretty good. No English dub for you, it's just the original Japanese voice acting, which feels right as we're in feudal Japan. That Dutch girl sure is fluent though. So yeah, I went in expecting a throwaway okay time with another Fate game and came away with an experience that I definitely won't forget. Those two words, Omega Force, made me grimace when I first turned on the game, but after 120 hours, I can safely say that I will never look at those words the same way ever again. Samurai Remnant is so loaded down with combat, systems, quests, subquests, good DLC, and optional content that I could recommend this title to just about anyone who likes a decent action RPG. Satisfying combat, loads of upgrades, lots of collectibles, and a really good story elevate this game to a place that I did not expect to see it reach. But where are all the HC?